ठीक है।
हम्म।
तो इसके ऊपर ना बहुत ही सिंपल वे में एक लेक्चर है गुरुदेव।
हम्म।
ठीक है, उन्होंने ना बड़ा सरलता के साथ बताया है। तो मैं तुमको तो मैं उसको पढ़ने जा रहा हूँ। ठीक है।
हम्म।
तो ये कहते हैं, तो इसके ऊपर ना, सॉरी, ही सेज वी, मतलब ही इज एक्चुअली स्पीकिंग फ्रॉम राग में चंद्रिका, जो अभी हमें पढ़नी भी है। ठीक है ना। तो फर्स्ट श्लोका इज कृष्णम स्मरण जन्म तस्य कृष्णम निज संहितम तत् कथा रतस चाशो कुर्याद्वसम व्रजे सदा। While remembering Sri Radha Krishna, his beloved associates, whom he desired to follow, being fully absorbed in discussion of their pastimes, one should always reside in Braj. If this is not possible, then one should reside there by mind. ये भक्ति स्वामी सिंधु का श्लोक है। We should remember Krishna and those associates who associates for whose service mood we have we have greed. We should remember them, hearing and repeating their pastimes with Sri Krishna and Radha. And we should live in Vrindavan. If not by body, then at least by mind. सेकेंड श्लोक क्या कहता है? सेवक साधक रूपेण सिद्ध रूपेण छात्र ही तदभाव सुना कार्या व्रज लोकानु सारथा. This should be like, this is actually our siddhant. On the path of Raganuga, being charmed by the intense love for Krishna, Krishna's beloved, sorry, love of by the intense love of Krishna's beloved Brajvasis, the sadhaka should live in Braj under the guidance of those devotees who have taken the shelter of Brajvasis, like Rupa Goswami, Sanatana Goswami, and Raghunatha Goswami, always eager to serve them in the present physical body, and in the perfected stage of the Siddha Rupa, the intentionally conceived spiritual body suitable for performing Prem Seva. He should engage in the cherished service of Sri Krishna according to his chosen mood. In this regard, he should follow in the footsteps of eternal residents of Braj, such as Sri Radha and Lalita Vishaka and Rupa Manjari. ठीक है। साधक रूपेण refers to Srila Rupa Goswami. सिद्ध रूपेण refers to Rupa Manjari. समझ रहे हो? सेवा साधक रूपेण, सिद्ध रूपेण चात्री. तो साधन रूप कौन सा हो गया? रूप गोस्वामी. सिद्ध रूप कौन सा हो गया? रूप मंजरी. सो व्रज लोकानुसारता refers to Krishna Nar Leela. You mean like past times like with Nanda Baba, Yashoda or Gopisa. So they have ordinary human like relationship with Krishna, but neither they nor Krishna are humans. थर्ड श्लोक का क्या कहता है? शरणवतो श्रवणनोत कीर्तनादीनी वैरी भक्ति ऋतनीतु यनि अंगानि च तन्यत्र विजयनानि मनीषिभिः. In very bhakti, one should practice the limbs of bhakti like Shravan Kirtan, so on according to one's qualification. Similarly, for the Raganuga Bhakti, also it has been advised by scholars who are well versed in the principle of bhakti to follow these practices. ठीक है? If a person develops Shraddha by reading or hearing the order of the Shastra and is consequently inspired to cultivate bhakti, this is called Vairi Bhakti. On the other hand, if the devotee has genuine greed to attain service like that of the gopis, even though he is performing the limb of Vairi Bhakti, he has actually developed Madhurya or Raganuga Bhav. The mood of the Vairi Bhakti performs with change. It will not be the same as the mood of the Vairi Bhakti. Raganuga Bhakt may follow all 64 limbs of Bhakti, or 9 or 5, whatever, or 3, the Shravan Kirtan and Smaran, and only one, Harinam Sankirtan, but with the mood of Raganuga. You got the point? Huh? It is very important for us to have this understanding that if somebody is performing all the 64 Anga Bhakti or 9 limbs of Bhakti, Or five, five, Brajvas and Bhagavad Shravan and then the three, or only one, that is Harinam Sankirtan. But in the mood of Raganuga Bhakti. In his explanation of the sloka, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says that the Raganuga Bhakti devotee need not follow each and every one of the 64 or 9 limbs of bhakti. He adopts only one, only those practices which all favorable for his development in the Raganuga Bhakti. He will not incur any offense if he neglects any one of those limbs for his mula. तो आगे Goswami, root is root bhav, constitutional mood. This is called amshi bhav. And then essence, what do you mean by essence? Sar. Gurujan Prabhu पूछते हैं. So the essence means the essential thing. What essential thing? The essential thing is to get the greed. Narayana कहते हैं the devotee already has greed. And then Gurujan Prabhu कहते हैं to cultivate or nourish. To cultivate, nourish what? Gurujan Prabhu कहते हैं affection, his love. Then Gurudev कहते हैं what affection? Gurujan कहते हैं his affection for Krishna in a particular way or mood. So Sri Maharaj says that the root is Gopi Bhav or some specifically Manjari Bhav. The mood of the person's service to Srimati Radhika like that is of the Manjari. This is essence. This is the essence. The root mood, yani mood of Amshi Bhav, in order to obtain this, the devotee executes those activities which are favorable and avoids those which are unfavorable. For example, he avoids ahangro upasana. Ahangropasana क्या होता है? To worship oneself as God. है ना? So this is not the meaning here. It means to think that I'm Lalita, I'm Vishakha, I'm Chitra or Rupa Manjari. Sajya Babaji meditated that I'm Lalita Sakhi rather than thinking of Lalita Dasi. This Ahangopasana, considering oneself to be a non different from the object of worship, is very dangerous. Very careful to escape from this. Another unfavorable practice is mudra. So you don't know the meaning of mudra? All the unimportant things in relation to archan and puja. We do not hold kusha grass in our hand while taking sankalpa, nor do we adopt nyasa, yani ki hand movement along with the recitation of the mantra as one touches the various part of one's own body or the various part of the body of the deity. We do not do Dwarka Dhyan, meditation on Dwarka, and Rukmani and Mahishi Puja, yani ki worshipping queens of Dwarka, even though these are included within the 64 limbs of bhakti. Then regarding the worship of Ramachandra, be careful. This is another not for us. Even though Ramachandra is Krishna, we should be very careful in this regard. We can offer obeisances saying, "Oh Krishna, you have manifested such a beautiful form as Rama, in which you are performing many wonderful pastimes. When such a devotee worships Rama on his appearance day, he does so with his mood. We do not address him as Rama, but as Krishna, the Keshav Dita, Rama Shrira, Jai Jai Devare, whatever. Dashmit Rupa आदि क्या बोलते हैं? Whereas Krishna, we will not worship that form of Ram. Worship Dwarkadish Krishna is better than worshipping of Ram. But that has also been warned against. So the question आता है, what about Nrsimhadev? We can do pranam to Nrsimhadev as the protector of bhakti. Shastra present various rules and regulations structured. It's clear such worship we perform, but these are for ordinary persons, for the general public, not for those sadhakas who are specifically going to serve Srimati Radhika. If you are on the path of Raganuga Bhakti, then you have to be very careful. Raganuga means to serve Radhika with Krishna. So we should be ekantiki, single pointed. Our Guru Parampara has established so many deities for the general public, which are not meant for those engaged in Ekantiki Bhakti. Perform your worship very carefully in such a way that no one will think that you are against Ram or Dwarkadish. Otherwise, should worship them, you should execute all your bhakti activities with freely. ठीक है तो ना बुद्धि भेदम जनयेन अज्ञानम कर्म संगिनाम जो ना ये तो सर्व कर्मणि विद्वन युक्ताम समर्चनम so as not to disrupt the mind of the ignorant men attached to the fruitive results of the prescribed duties, a learned person should not induce them to stop work, rather by working in the spirit of devotion. He should engage them in sorts of activities for the gradual development of Krishna consciousness. So even though it is written in Bhakti Shastra that one should perform these particular practices, a Raganuga devotee will not do so. Shastra say one should not commit any offense by neglecting any of the limb of bhakti. Shastra says that one should not do avagya, disobedience. One should not be disobedient to any limb of bhakti. There is something to understand in this connection. Those practices which are not favorable to Raganuga Bhakti are to be done. Vishnu Thakurpal says that there may be a time when a person who is following this principle of Raganuga comes to temple of Satyabhama, Rukmani, Ramchandra and some other deity, and by any chance he may be obliged to worship them. However, even if he does not do so, he incurs no offense. For a general person, it would be an offense to avoid such a worship, but in case of a person with a genuine greed, he is not avoiding this worship in a mood that would be considered offensive. Let us take the example of Hanuman, Garud, or Hanuman. Guruman told Hanuman, your worshipful deity is called you. The worshipful Sri Krishna wants you to come and take his darshan. Hanuman, my health is so bad. I'm sick. I cannot go. I'm seriously ill. Garuda repeated, Krishna is calling you. I know, but I'm so tired. I cannot do anything. Garuda tried to take him by force, but Hanuman flicked Garuda with his tail, throwing him with such a tremendous force that he at once landed near the place of Krishna in Dwarka. Krishna will go again, and this time you tell him that Ramachandra is calling you. When returned to Hanuman and said, you are worshipful for deity, Rama is calling you. Hanuman immediately became very joyful and said, I will just take my bath. As soon as I put it on tilak, I am coming. Please go ahead and tell Rama that I am coming right away. Garuda said, I will go very quickly and as quickly as the mind. So please come with me and ride on my back. No, there is no need. I'm coming just now. You just go ahead. In the meantime, Garuda reached halfway to Rama, flying so fast, he saw Hanuman coming back, jumping back from having just seen Rama. Hanuman had already seen Krishna in the form of Rama. He had already spoken with him and paid his respect, and he was now returning, while Garuda was only half of the way. Thus, even if we are not following the various limbs of the four practices of bhakti, namely Padasevanam, parikrama of the Lord's pastime place, or Archana, Vandana, or Dasya, Sakhyam, and so on, if we have that root bhav, this neglect is not an offense. That root bhav will fill up all the gaps in the form of missing practices. Shruti Smriti Purnadi पंच रात्र विधिम विना एकांतिकी हरेर भक्ति उत्पत्ति एव कल्पते. Devotional service to Bhagwan that ignores the authorized Vedic literature like Upanishad, Puran, Narad, Pancharatra, etc. simply is unnecessary disturbance in the society. Do not know this shloka. This is very important shloka from Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. The purport of the is if one is engaged in the exclusive worship of Krishna, but he is not following the instruction of Shastra like the Shruti, Smriti, Pancharatra, Purana, there will be some disturbance. For a person with a genuine greed to serve Radha and Krishna, for a person truly established in this root bhakti, that alone is sufficient. If one person does not execute whatever limbs of bhakti are unfavorable or advancement in Raganuga, even though Shastras instructs that all the limbs of bhakti should be observed, there is no chance of committing an offense. One important thing to note in this relation is it is a fact that those who have actual greed and exclusively follow the principle of Raganuga Bhakti will attain the service of Radha and Krishna in Gopi Bhav. Vashina Vishnu Chandra Thakur tells us it is sometimes said that if the sadhaka has an ambition or greed to serve Radha Krishna with Rag and is engaged only in the hearing, chanting, and remembering of Vedi Bhakti, he will attain Dwarka Bhav and become a maid servant of Rukmani and Satyabhama. So it is a question like the supposition. Vishwanath Thakur has written if someone says. So he writes that it is also sometimes said that if a sadhaka has greed, performs very bhakti plus raganuga bhakti, he will become a maid servant of the queen of Madura. He says that these conceptions are not correct. Why not correct? The queen of Mathura is Kubja and the queen of Dwarka Rukmini. Satyavarama and others are like them. It is not correct to say that a person performing Vedi Bhakti receives the service to Queen of Dwarka, whereas a person with the greed who performs both Vedi Bhakti and Raganuga Bhakti will have the maid service of Kubja. Kubja Prem is not actually proper. Therefore, it is actually less than that of the Queen of Dwarka. The Queen of Dwarka are so much superior to Kubja. Vedi plus Raganuga is superior to Vedi alone. Do not understand. It is against the principle of bhakti that a person performing Vedi bhakti plus Raganuga bhakti would receive the inferior service of Kubja, whereas the performance of Vedi bhakti would yield more than that. So maybe Chandravali service, no. It has been written in the Gopal Champu that Rukmani marriage was performed in Mathura, and therefore some person says Rukmani must be present there as Krishna's queen. But this is against our Vaishnava principle. It is against our Gaudiya Vaishnava philosophy to say that by following Vedi Bhakti, one will receive the same award as one who engage in Vedi mixed with Raganuga. So Vishwanath Thakur states that the idea of Rukmani's marriage in Mathura is against the Shastra and has been told only in Gopal Champu. Actually, when Gopal Champu says Mathura, it means Dwarka. Because they are more or less the same. The same. From our study of Srimad Bhagavatam, all other authentic Bhakti scriptures, we know that the idea of Rukmani's marriage in Mathura is not authentic. Srila Vishwanath Thakur will explain this later on, but he is mentioning it now in order to make the point clear. Which limbs are practiced in Raganuga Bhakti, which are essential, which are disregarded. To answer this, Srila Vishwanath Thakur has described 5 categories of devotional service for a person with genuine greed. Abhishta Bhav Bhakti, absorption in one Siddha Bhav, the mood of a Manjari. Abhishta Bhava Sambandhi, those practices related to one's cherished mood. Such practices surely deliver the desired goal. Abhishta Bhava Anukula, those practices which are favorable to one's cherished mood. Abhishta Bhava Aviruddha, those practices which are neutral, not unfavorable, not opposed, and Abhishta Bhava Viruddha, those practices which are detrimental. The first is Avishta Bhavamai, always thinking about one's Siddha Bhav, the Bhav of the Manjari. This will never be engaged. What is the meaning of Avishta? The object of desire. So Narayana Maharaj Gurudev is saying, Avishta refers to that we want. Ishta means what we want. Abhi means surely. So absorption in the mood will surely give us the attainment of our cherished goal. And then comes Abhishta Bhav, Sambandhi, and after that, Abhishta Bhav Anukul. So, do you know the meaning of Anukul? Favorable, right? So, also we should adopt whatever practices are not favorable, Abhishta Viruddha Bhav, and those practices which are Abhishta Bhav Viruddha, unfavorable, we should avoid. If your practice is favorable, we should accept it, and those practices which are neither favorable nor unfavorable can be accepted or rejected. Practically according to the atmosphere, which I'm going to talk about with now, further explain the five aspects of Raganuga Bhakti. Abhishta Bhavamai, whatever practices we execute at the time of our sadhana will be the same at the time of sadhya, the goal of life, the stage of siddha and perfection. Sadhak remember Krishna, Govinda. Now, at the time of sadhana, they will do it in their siddha sharir, which will form as the Gopi Manjari as well. Both remembrances are the same, but one is unripe and the other one will be ripe. The subject of the mood will never change, such as Kirtan will never be changed, whether in the stage of sadhana or siddha. The sadhaka's absorption in their constitutional mood is called Abhishta Bhavamai. They think in themselves as Kishori Gopi, engage in Radhika service. In their meditation, they see themselves a cowherd maiden, making very beautiful garland and giving them to Rupa Manjari. In turn, Rupa Manjari gives those garlands to Lalita and Vishaka, who place them on the neck of Radha and Krishna. This type of meditation is called Ashtakaliya Seva or Ashtayami Seva. With such thoughts in mind, such sadhaka may utter the prayers to praise of Raghunath Goswami in Vilap Kusum Manjali, and in the Siddha Seva, they will actually engage in such seva. So there is no change. It is only a question of being in the unripe or the ripe stage. This is called Abhishta Bhavamai. ठीक है अभिष्ट भावमयी सेवा की जय हरे कृष्ण
Bro, I feel like Yudhishthir Maharaj asking a question, and Narad, in reply to that, Narad Muni gave the entire seventh canto. I just asked one question, Prabhu, and you did an extra entire lecture for that. Almost.
Sorry यार
No, no, Prabhu, it's good. No, it's good. Trag Vartmik Chandrika is very nice, Prabhu. Yeah, it's very nice book, Prabhu. I really love that.
So
And,
let's
and it's very important that we keep on reminding ourselves. I keep on forgetting all of this stuff, but talking with you, discussing with you, and going back to these books again and again actually वो क्या बोलते हैं solidify करता है. Like एक ही चीज बार 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 करते तो हमारे कॉन्शियसनेस में मतलब वो आ जाता है.
बैठना ही पड़ेगा बिकॉज एक बार में नहीं होता ना एक बार में नहीं होता
What was the
तो
question,
वेरी
Prabhu?
सिंपल क्वेश्चन है एक एक दिन में आदमी शराबी नहीं बनता आपको शराब पीनी पड़ती है जब व्हेन यू वांट टू ड्रिंक देन यू ड्रिंक व्हेन यू डोंट वांट टू ड्रिंक देन यू ड्रिंक व्हेन यू आर वेरी हैप्पी देन यू ड्रिंक व्हेन यू आर नॉट हैप्पी यू आर सैड एंड समटाइम्स यू हैव टू ड्रिंक व्हेन यू जस्ट डोंट you do not feeling anything happiness sadness joyfulness when you want when you don't want and a time when you have nothing to think about your drinking. When you do such things, then only you become a drunkard. Same way, this Raganuga Bhakti will infuse in you only in one condition. When you have again and again heard about it, and we have developed lolium for it. And then lolium is going to give you perfection. ठीक
True,
है?
Prabhu. Very, 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 very true, Prabhu. It's very important that we stay connected to what is our provision, and we don't get distracted in the other stuff.
Yes, we have to do Ramachandra glorification. There's nothing wrong. For us, Nrsimhadev is everything. I love Nrsimhadev so much. Huh? But for me, he is Keshav Drita, Narhari Rupa. Same Keshav who has taken the form of Narhari, right?
Yes,
Yes,
Prabhu.
yes. Oh, sorry, I missed. What was the question? Sorry, Prabhu. Now I hope, and now I hope this question does not open.
No, Prabhu, I asked the question that there are many saints and there are many Vaishnavas of different sampradayas because actually Raghunath Prabhu was talking to me regarding some incident yesterday, and there were many saints who wrote a different versions on Raganuga Bhakti, and they are
Hmm.
all Rajvasis. And
Hmm.
so I was asking Raghunath Prabhu, how do we connect that? That all of that, like it is not necessary that everything is true, or so there might be some of the things which we have to filter out. So like Prabhu read from Ragavartmik Chandrika, and beautiful answered actually, Prabhu.
Actually, the question was very simple that, that so many people are actually have given the explanation on Raganuga Bhakti in their own way, right?
Mm.
So he was asking me the question that, what should be a step? What should be a step? And where, so how can we know where do we have to go?
Yes,
Which is a very genuine question. You know what I mean?
Prabhu, true.
Yes, Prabhu.
मैं भी सोचता हूँ कभी कभी जब कोई माया बहुत प्रोमिनेंट होती है ना तो दिमाग में डाउट आता है यू गेट डाउट इन योर माइंड संशय आत्मा विनश्यति ध्यान रखना इस बात को sometimes the biggest doubt comes in our mind is related to our sampradaya only whether we are right or wrong but then we see the acharyas in our sampradaya who got perfection how they have left the bodies how they have like how what they're speaking how they're speaking what their realizations are as an ordinary person can I have such kind of realizations simple if not then whether they are Mahabhagavad or not, at least they are better than us. Right?
True, Prabhu.
First of all. Second thing, definitely our acharyas are special. Otherwise, Mahaprabhu would not have shown so much of mercy upon our Bhakti Siddhanta line. Bhakti Siddhanta Dhara is like, actually, Babaji and all, they are doing very well. But, you know, actually, if you see, the real prachar is happening only in ISKCON or something in Gaudiya Math, right? So
True,
there
Prabhu.
was some empowerment by our, the Guru Tattva Nityananda Prabhu. That is the reason they are able to do it now.
True, Prabhu.
You know, even in the Babaji Sampradaya or anywhere, if you go, any family you go, anywhere you go, everybody is like, eventually from ISKCON only coming and joining. Uh-huh.
Yes, Prabhu. Everyone from ISKCON is joining.
Mostly, most of the time, most of the time. Chalo,
Yes.
you asked me a question and gave you the entire Bhagavatam class.
No, Prabhu, it's beautiful, but I thank you for reminding us again. Maybe Lord wanted me to, to read that book again. So,
We'll read this book again, Raghavata Chandrika. Maybe जैव धर्म के बाद या फिर साथ साथ who knows.
प्रभु ऐसे एक दो एक्सर्प्ट करते रहेंगे ऐसे एक दो क्लास बीच बीच में ऐसे जैसे तो वैष्णव चरित्र आता है ऐसे थोड़े थोड़े डिस्कशंस पढ़ते रहेंगे ऐसे
हाँ
तो
हाँ
प्रभु एक्चुअली वैष्णव भजन भी पढ़ने आपने कहा था प्रार्थना प्रेम भक्ति चंद्रिका
yes yes yes
नरोत्तम दास ठाकुर महाशय
exactly we'll read even Bhakti Vinod Thakur also.
यस प्रभु आई रियली वांट टू प्रभु एक्चुअली रीड वैष्णव भजन्स विद यू
तो आजा मेरे को लोग बुलाते इसलिए थे पहले मतलब उस समय तो मेरे को बहुत अच्छी कमांड थी मेरी वैष्णव भजनों के ऊपर मतलब नॉट ओनली सिंगिंग माय वॉइस वाज आल्सो बेटर बट दैट टाइम आई यूज्ड टू सिंग really nice मतलब at least good not so nice but good and then we used to have so much of kirtan. रघु आजा आज घर में राजमा चावल बने हैं छोले चावल बने हैं आप कीर्तन करते हैं हाँ ब्रह्मचर्य आश्रम में ठंडा खाना मिलता था तो उनके घर जाके गरम गरम प्रसाद मिलता था साथ में वैष्णव भजन कोई करता नहीं था मंदिर में तो वहीं पे मुझे बहुत सेटिस्फेक्शन मिलता था
तो प्रभु
जय जगदीश की शादी में करेंगे हम लोग
ट्रू प्रभु, जय जगदीश प्रभु की शादी में वैष्णव भजन करेंगे।
ए द्वार के रो नाथ मेरो राजा रण छोर से, तेरे मैंने पाया लगाड़ी रे। गुजराती भजन भी करेंगे, डांडिया भी खेलेंगे।
जय जगदीश प्रभु, आपने आपने घर पे तो कहा है ना कि भाई डिवोटी जा रहे हैं, मतलब ऐसा ना हो कि हम
नहीं
डिवोटी
ऐसा
जा रहे हैं
बुलाया
और
भी,
दोस्त।
वैसे वैसे उसने बुलाया नहीं हमको। वो तो ऐसे ही सपने देख रहे हैं। वैसे वो भी मीटिंग में है, तो वो भी वो अनम्यूट नहीं कर सकता, कह रहा है। चल ठीक है, बाद में बात करेंगे।
ठीक है प्रभु।
पांच छह कल्पतरु वैश्य कृपा सिंधु भवेश, पूजन पावने